Today on the channel, we're going to talk about basic maintenance you can do at home yourself that'll save you money and keep your car running longer. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we got another exciting episode for you today. We're going to talk about basic maintenance you can do on your vehicle that will save you money and keep your vehicle lasting longer. Alright, now I get this question asked quite a bit about what kind of basic maintenance can I do on my car to keep it running and lasting longer and save me a little bit of money from taking it to the shop. Alright, today I'm going to show you some simple things, what you can do at home in your own garage or your own driveway with very little tools, just a jack stand, jack, a few hand tools. You can get all that from Harbor Freight or whatever, some cheap stuff if you're not really into working in mechanics and just don't want to spend a lot of money buying Craftsman or Snap-on tools. Harbor Freight sells a good little tool kit that you can buy that'll cover pretty much everything you probably need for these type of little jobs right here. Alright, so we're going to cover some of the basic, simpler ones, not everything. So you guys are getting your fingers ready for the comments there about what I didn't cover and what I didn't cover. These are just basic things that the average homeowner will do on their own or be willing to do. Alright, so we're just going to hit up on about 4 or 5 things here. Alright, today we're going to be servicing my Ford Ranger here. She just hit 150,000 miles. I know. Woo! Alright, and she's got many more miles left on her. Those things can go forever. And I'm going to prove it. We're going to keep this thing running. So today we're going to do basic maintenance on it, and I'm going to show you all the different things that you can do that will save you money and keep your vehicle running. So let's get started. Okay, the first one's a no-brainer. Change your oil regularly and filter. Don't forget your filter. I've noticed a lot of people that have never changed their filter. They just change oil, never change the filter. Don't do that. Change your oil and filter regularly. Alright, I'm using the Mobil 1 Extended Performance 5W20. It's guaranteed for 15,000 miles protection, because you guys know me. The less I have to work on these things, the better. But I change this about every 10,000 miles. That's usually my little routine I got on here. Alright, but if you don't want to use synthetic, if you want to use regular oil, you'll probably change it every 5 to 7,000. Consult your owner's manual for the actual number. They'll give you everything. Also consult your owner's manual for the correct weight for your motor. If you don't have an owner's manual, you'll probably be in luck. It's probably written on your cap. If not, you can look it up on the internet, or you can call O'Reilly's or any auto parts store, and they'll give you the information for your car that you need. Okay, our next thing we're going to talk about is antifreeze. All right. Now the good thing is you don't need to change this as much as your oil. Thank goodness, right? Now most antifreeze is good for about 2 to 3 years, 60,000 miles. Consult your owner's manual. It'll give you the recommended time when you should change your antifreeze here. Alright, now this right here I'm changing is 50-50. Now you want to make sure when you put in here 50-50, you put in 50-50 and you don't get your mixture mixed up. Alright, you don't want to have one side heavier than the other side. Now if you don't know how much you got in there now, you can buy one of these little testers right here. This is the antifreeze coolant tester. It tells you the freezing point and to the boiling point right there, and all you have to do, move this out of the way, is we just go in here, squeeze it. As you can see, it brings in some antifreeze, and then the needle will point. As you can see, we are good all the way up to -45 on the freezing point, and way above 260, way above there. So that is good. So it's got good protection there. Alright, and you just squeeze it back in. Now be sure when you get done with these to clean them out with some water, which I'll do later. But anyway, back to what we were doing here. Now I'm using the extended life 150,000 5-year antifreeze. It's a little bit more pricier than your regular antifreeze, not by much. But I like, I guess everyone can see the pattern here, that the less I have to do, the better. And this is one of those things I recommend, I like doing. So I don't like, the less I have to change, the better. Let's just stick with that. Now I had a 2008 Kia Spectra 5. I had a front wheel drive, the 2.0, and I would change the antifreeze every 60,000 miles because Kia recommended that the belt be changed there. Timing belt would be changed every 60,000 miles. So I would just go ahead and change antifreeze when I did that. No big deal. Well, I had the car for about 180,000 before we traded it in. There was nothing wrong with the car. Nothing wrong with it at all. My wife just didn't like it, that's all. Go figure. But anyway, we traded in, and the water pump never gave me any troubles, never had any problems. 180,000, and all I did was change my antifreeze regularly. All right. It is good to change your antifreeze regularly. It will help your water pump last longer. I believe that's why one of the most reasons why water pumps go out is because people don't change their antifreeze regularly. Now, I'm not saying do this all the time. Just do it at regular intervals and at your whatever your owner manual recommend or whatever you get. You set up a set time because changing this could save you some time and hassle of replacing a water pump. All right, we've been talking a lot about fluids. Let's talk about filters. All right, this is my air filter here. It's been in there for about 50,000 miles. This is one of those K&N filters. As you can see, she's quite dirty, and it's time to clean her. Now, regular filters, they need to be changed about every, I guess 30,000 miles, whatever. Consult your owner's manual there. It will give you a guide. Now, usually on your owner's manual, it will give you a little sheet about everything should be replaced or inspected or whatever. But I believe the K&N filters say they can go 50,000 miles without, before they need to be cleaned, and this one definitely needs it. So I'm going to clean this one. All right, one last thing here. If you don't know how long your filter's been in your car, but you're not sure if it needs to be replaced, a good way to take it out is take it out of the car, put it up to the sun, and you can see all the water. I forgot about this tip until after I washed this. Fantastic, huh? Anyway, you go out there and you put it out in the sun, and if you can see daylight through it, your filter is still good. Now, if you can't see daylight through it, your filter is no good. It needs to be replaced. Another good preventative maintenance thing is rotating your tires. Now, you're probably asking, why should you rotate your tires? And that's a very good question. All right, rotating your tires help your tires wear evenly. All right, because we all know that rubber is very expensive. That blue Dodge you see over there in the background, or if you've seen earlier in the video, those tires for it go down discount tires over $1,000. So I want the very most to get as much life as I can out of these tires. I've been able to get quite a bit miles out of them by rotating them just on a regular basis. The recommended is about 6,000 to 8,000 miles. Now I do it every 10,000 miles, one because I'm lazy, and I just do everything at once. When I do my oil change, I just do everything on one day. I spend a whole day. That way I don't go, I do oil change this week, 2 weeks later I got to rotate tires, this, that, I just do it all at one time, and it works out great. But for the sake of this video, you need to consult your owner's manual or your service guide and see what it recommends, and you make a decision from there. Okay, another plus to rotating your tires is that it gets it off the ground, so we can check side by side and see if there's any play in the tire, which there is none, which is good because I just redid the front end on this. And also, when we take the wheel off, we can inspect our brakes and all of our other bushings and make sure they're in good shape. So there's many pluses of rotating your tires. You can do a lot of preventative maintenance by just checking and monitoring when you do regular maintenance. All right, last thing I want to talk about on the subject of tires real fast. When you're putting them on, I felt really strongly about this, so I felt like I needed to include this part here. But when you put the tires back on and you're using an impact, all right, you probably wonder how people tighten them down. You've probably seen them where they go in there and just hold it down and do that. They tighten them all up. Don't do that, okay? That is the worst thing you could possibly do, and I'll explain why. Because the next time you go to take these off, the stud's going to break right off. I've had it happen to me several times. I had a van in here, a church van. They had taken to get them some used tires or some cheap tires, and they took them to one of those cheap places, and they didn't torque them down. It's this right here, a torque wrench. They just took the impact and they really laid weight to it. All right. With the impact, you just run them up until they hit. When you hear them go, that's it. You've got them all the way up there. All right, you don't need to beat on the impact to get them on there tight. This is where this is coming. Now this is going to be probably one of the few special tools that you may invest in. All right. Now some people probably, will never. A lot of mechanics don't really use torque wrenches for wheel time, but whatever. I do. I prefer this is the proper method to do it. I torque down a lot of my stuff, and wheels are very important to me. I don't want them falling off or the studs breaking off because I got them on there too tight. So this cost me a good bit. You can find cheaper ones. I'm sure they have some at Harbor Freight, or you can get them online for a lot cheaper. A basic half-inch drive torque wrench that does foot-pounds and Newton-meters, which mainly you'll just use the foot-pounds. All right. I just felt like this part was very important, and I probably should stress about it because I see this happen all the time about people just beating down on the impact, on the tire, on the lug nut, and it's just waiting for a stud to break. True story. It happened. I've known several friends that had gotten some new rims. Took them down there, they beat them on with the impact, come up, and every single one of them busted off. That's a major job to change all those studs out. So, why make more work for yourself? Do it the correct way. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is not on my Ford Ranger, but it's something that's very and equally just as important if your car is equipped with it. Now, my Ranger was not, but I felt obliged that I should add this on because this is probably one of the most neglected filters out there, and it's called your cabin air filter. You probably heard me talk about it before. In the case of this Mustang, it's in here, and you can see it's right back there. I don't know why they put it there. Someone needs to ask Ford, why would someone put a cabin air filter there? Now, most of your import cars, you'll find them behind the glove box, which is a much easier location to get to sometimes. But this needs to be changed every 10,000 miles. This helps your air condition. It will help it last longer. Kia, once again, I keep using that for example because I maintenance the heck out of that vehicle because it was my only vehicle at the time. But I changed that every 10,000 miles, and never once out of the 8 or 10 years I had it did I have to put Freon or replace any of the AC components. It worked from day one. 180,000, 8, 10 years, just perfect. It's the little things like this that goes a long ways. And just like that, we are done with the preventive maintenance for this truck for this service time. I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll take the initiative to do it yourself. Now, if you'd like to see me do a lot of these little repairs like you saw today in more detail, let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to make a video for you on how to do it. There's a lot of other things we could have touched on today, but did not. Those will be for another video. So all you guys down there saying that you didn't talk about this, this, or this, we just talked about basic maintenance you can do at home that the simple homeowner can do without really knowing a whole lot about cars today. And we'll get into some of those other ones in another video, and I hope you're here to watch them. Well guys, that is it for today, and I hope I will see you next time. So stay safe out there.